culture, and oral culture has always been a very integral part of our community, of our indigenous system. In fact, how I identify any indigenous community in our state is equivalent to their oral culture, because it is only through the oral cultures that our traditional knowledge system has been passed down from generations and generations. And not just oral culture, basically what happens in every indigenous community is that it is based on collective deliberations, it is based on collective discourse, it is based on collective ideation. And every indigenous system, just like John sir has just presented paper, every tribal community had a customary council of their own. For example, in our Nishi community, we have called Nyele. In Apatani community, we have Bulyang, and in Adi community, there is Kebang. So every community has a customary councils that deliberates, ideas, discusses important regarding matters related to their community. So likewise, this culture has always been, the deliberation part has always been a part of our indigenous community. And with the advent of digital technology, the cultural conversation that has been happening offline, it has also been taken, shifted towards the online platforms. Like in the last few decades, the growth of development in communication has technologies, and the profound shift that can be witnessed in the communication landscape around Arunachal and around the world, and Arunachal isn't any different. With the spread of affordable smartphones and the expansion of internet access even in remote areas, digital media platforms such as Facebook, WhatsApp and YouTube have become arenas for public discourses. Alright, and there are studies that have said that basically Arunachal is a patriarchal society, and any patriarchal society, the main decision-making body in any society, let me get back to that, in any society, how do we understand the power balance of the gender? We can understand the power balance of the gender by looking at their decision-making bodies. How many women is a part of their decision-making bodies? So likewise, in an oral culture like in a tribal community, women have always played the part of a custodian of the oral culture in their folk stories, in the practice, while practicing their rituals and tradition, but they have never necessarily been a part of the decision-making bodies. And studies have proved that this is also reflected in the online digital spaces. So that's why my story or my research work is about that, how women communicate in the digital platforms, and whether what happens in real, whether what happens offline also happens in the online setting. So what is the rationale why we need to study it? Arunachal Pradesh is one of the least studied digital public sphere in India. We have a rapid digital penetration in the last few years. We have a strong patriarchal structure. We have a youth-heavy population that hugely use social media platforms, digital media platforms. We have high reliance on Facebook, WhatsApp as news media, especially in Arunachal Pradesh. We don't have a dedicated news television channels. Most of the news are deliberated or expressed through Facebook or other social media platforms. Yet zero major academic studies exist on gender political participation, and this research fills that scholarly void. So, and the research problem of my study is, even though women in Arunachal are now digitally connected, do they participate equally in online political conversations? And my key concerns are visibility, safety, legitimacy of voice, patriarchal online behaviors, and so political sensitivity of issue. So before I move further, I just want to give you some operational definitions, which is not mentioned in that slides. So when I say political, here political refers to any discussion, opinion, reaction or engagement related to governance, public policy, tribal rights, election laws, law and order issue, community welfare debate, or any issue that influence the impact the people, the Arunachal Pradesh scheduled tribe community, or impact the collective decision making in Arunachal Pradesh. And when I say digital platform, it means social media platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram. But in this study, we specifically focus on Facebook. And when I say digital conversation, so digital conversation means exchange of information, ideas, engagement such as likes, share, comment by and among the users of the digital platforms. So my objectives are examine gender patterns of civic and political participation online, compare how men versus women differ in theme, tones and visibility, and assess whether conversation media empower or constrain women. So my theoretical frameworks, I have taken two theoretical framework called digital public sphere and feminist public sphere. So digital public sphere is based on a German communicator Habermas, which says that public sphere is a space where common people come together to discuss about issues and express their opinion. And this study has been further followed up by digital public sphere with the arrival of digital technology, and many researchers and scholars were there who developed of the public sphere and given the digital public sphere theory, and one of the notable among them is Paparachisi, which says that online space is now equal to new public sphere. And this digital public sphere has been criticized by another researcher called Nancy Fraser, and she gave the feminist public sphere. So as per her, when we say public sphere is not devoid of irregularities. Especially it faces imbalance in context to marginalized community in which women, men of low income and people of other genders, they come together and they don't have the equal opportunity to express themselves. Now my methodology is I have a mixed method interpretive research design, a quantitative analysis where I took survey through Google Forms and a quantitative analysis of Facebook comment. So why I have only taken Facebook here, although there are other social media platforms, is because Facebook, the most of the news channels, they use Facebook to give out information in Arunachal Pradesh. And in Facebook, we have majority of age variations in Facebook that I could find. Instagram is heavily populated by youth, and in YouTube what happened is, like in my analysis I had to do the gender differentiation, and in YouTube it is a little difficult to differentiate whether a commenter is a male or a female. So that's why I just took Facebook in my study, and the population was Arunachal Pradesh scheduled tribe above 18 years. I had a sample size of 120, a purposive sampling, active users of smartphone plus internet, and participate across urban, semi-urban, rural, and also outside the state who were APST and above 18 years, and my tool was Google Form. In my survey questions, I have the following sections: demographics, information about the respondents, digital usage patterns of the respondent, political civic engagement pattern of the respondent, online safety and harassment, and perception of women's public role. I just have 2 minutes. So basically 9 major political issues were analyzed. So out of that, I'll just tell you the key findings. My key finding number 1 is access. When it comes to access is not an issue. Both male and female have equal access to digital platforms and digital technology. So the gender divide is not an issue here. Access is not the issue here. Key finding 2 was male dominance across all the most majority of the comments were from male. Even on topics related to women, male outnumber women. And my third finding was selective participation by women. Women comment more when the issue is personal or morally significant. Women's engagement spikes on issue relating to rights, safety, protection, or children outrage. And the key finding, another very important finding, was silent engagement. So women do use Facebook, Instagram daily, but only 10 to 20% comment on political issues, express themselves. They are reading it, they are watching it. In my survey, they are politically aware, they know what is happening, but they are not expressing themselves. So this indicates a pattern of high digital presence of women, but low public expression because of high risk perception. And why I am saying high risk perception is because when I asked them if they have faced online harassment or bullying, majority of the females said that they have faced online safety harassment. And when they, when even a high number of males have also expressed that they have faced online harassment, but basically mostly it was women face it more than men, and what action they take when they faced online harassment. And majority of the male has said that they have ignored it, it doesn't affect them, and majority of women said they have reported reported or filed a complaint, and at the worst case they have deactivated their account. So what the data says, it actually says that harassment silences women more than men. Men ignore it, women either withdraw or seek protection. Withdraw, that is by deactivating their account. This difference explains why women comment less in political issue. Digital participation is shaped not by access but by fear of harm. Harassment is a structural barrier to political voices. So the divide is not in access, but the divide is in public expression. Women constantly report fear of trolling, privacy concern, community judgment, and many of them said that even if they express, they think their voice does not matter. So women participant in social media platform is silent observer, and men is equal to visible expressor. So how much do they speak? We'll just have to skip that. There are many things. So I'll just go to my discussion. So why only women speak sometimes? The issue is the women speak, they break their silence because many of the comments were there where suddenly the female comments increase. For example, in bullying in societies, there was a case where a child, Tado case, if you all must be aware of that, where a child committed suicide. In that case, their comment increased, although the man's comment was still higher. In Tichimina murder case, where a husband murdered his wife, 47%, their comment increased. And ST cancellation, where it was said that ST women married to non-AP ST, their ST status should be cancelled. The 38% was 38% of male. It has comparatively high, but still lesser than women. So what makes them speak? When they speak when the issue is morally urgent, their safety or dignity is threatened, it concerns children or vulnerable groups, the emotional stake override fear. So this is not emotionality, it is gender political rationality, which means it shows an expression of how they have experienced, what kind of experience they have as a woman in a day-to-day life. It is a logical decision that I'm not going to comment on that. Okay? The central argument here is women in Arunachal Pradesh are not politically disengaged, they are politically cautious, their silence is not apathy, their silence is protection. So I would like to conclude by saying that women in Arunachal are digitally connected but politically cautious. They engage deeply with civic content but avoid public confrontation. Their participation is conditional, issue-driven and risk-aware, and without structural support, digital spaces risk reinforcing gender inequality rather than reducing it. So if I have the permission of the chair, I would just like to add one point of future research directions. I do have a lot of limitations, but why I want to insist on future research direction is because when our keynote speaker, she was giving the speech regarding the theory of, there is no theory of how for the indigenous people. So I would like to suggest here that there is a huge scope to develop a theory to understand how male and female of the indigenous community participate or converse in digital platforms. So this is one of a huge future research direction. Thank you.